Yes. So, as I was saying, Maya, this material energy is divine, but then it can facilitate our lusty, greedy, envious desires. That's the way to look at it. The example I was giving that but then the goal of this material nature is not to hurt us, not to push us away from the path of bhakti. It's very much like a teacher giving a multiple choice question to a student. So by giving four wrong answers and one right answer, what the teacher is doing, he's just testing the student's confidence on that right answer. However, and many wrong answers may be present before us, but if we always choose Krishna, then Maya will not disturb us anymore because Krishna will say, "Oh no, this guy is this person is my pure devotee. Please stop disturbing him." So Maya then moves away. But Krishna is like a father, and sometimes a father has to put his child into us with a strict tutor. And that's what Krishna is doing here. He wants to be sure that our purpose is strong. If our purpose is not strong and we go to Krishna, we'll still not be able to love him with our full heart. We'll still love him half-heartedly. Ah, no, Krishna, you brought me here. I wanted to do so many more things. Right? So somebody, and then there's the word surrender in here. So anybody who surrenders to Krishna, all the pleasure and pains, they are removed for a person who has surrendered to Krishna. So the first part of this verse, right, Devi Hesha Guna Mai Mam Maya Duratta, is that tells us that how Maya deludes us. And the second part introduces us to the power of Krishna. Right? So, and now surrender can be in multiple ways, right? Like, for example, I think we talked about it briefly, the example of Draupadi, right? Draupadi was also surrendered. And we talked about how we have to do our due diligence and also depend on Krishna at the same time. So Draupadi exemplified surrender through dependence on Krishna. Arjun, on the other hand, exemplified through his diligence, the eagerness to fight. So surrender. They both were surrendered. So when we are surrendered to Krishna, when we have faith on Krishna, it's faith is certainty that there is Bhagavan, there is Krishna is Bhagavan. But then faith is also about openness to possibilities. What can happen to me? We should have that faith that Krishna is taking care of us. Right? So Krishna can help us in many ways. So let me be open to the answers that are coming. Right? So weakness of heart means we are over dependent on material solutions. And when we are dependent on those material solutions, when they don't work, we become helpless. So openness and faith on Krishna means that we have problems and we know a solution, but we let Krishna decide how he wants to help me. That's the way to understand. So there is dependence and diligence on Krishna. So surrender is a interesting principle. Right? For example, for Arjun also, after hearing the whole Bhagavad Gita, some people say, "Oh, surrender will make me peaceful." No, surrender doesn't necessarily mean peace. For Arjun, it was not peaceful. He went and had a war after that. So for him, surrender was to have that war. Right? We ordinarily associate surrender with peaceful situations. Right? Yeah, there can be a sense of peace, but then it's not that always there will be peace. So focusing on things that are under our control and doing them to the best of our capacity is also faith. Right? Because after listening to the whole Bhagavad Gita, Arjun says, Karishe Vachanam Tava, I will do as you want me to do. So for Arjun, surrender means using his God-given skills in God's service. For us, what it means is that we use whatever resources we have been given, whatever talents we have been given, and use them in a mood of service and contribution. So thus, when we surrender, we become peaceful by letting go of the uncontrollable and purposefully by taking up things that are controlled. So the surrender is an interesting concept. So I just want to mention that a bit. Okay. So that's 14. So let's get into 15. So 15th is interesting. So 15 and 16, Krishna will tell which four kind of people surrender to him. And 16th, he will tell, don't surrender to him is 15th, and who surrender to him is 16th. So 15th is those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. So four kinds of people are being talked about here, right? Who don't surrender to Krishna, right? So the first one is, let's look at them. Mudha. It's the word mudha means foolish, right? Like a donkey. Donkey doesn't think that I'm carrying such a huge load. He never thinks that. Similarly, there are people who are working very hard, don't think that they are getting out of what they are getting out of. So people are animal-like, just involved in animal propensities. Those people are called mudhas. Krishna is calling them mudha. So the next kind of people Krishna is calling is naradhama. Right? So naradhama is it. So if you see nara dhamma, so nara word means human, and dhamma means adhama means dumb. The opposite of naradhama is naruttama. Nara uttama, the best of them. Krishna is narottama. Right? So these people, naradhamas, they have more knowledge than mudhas, but they don't take time out for spiritual interest. That's the difference. So mudha, animal propensity. Naradhama is slightly better than mudhas. They have some non-animalistic. They use their intelligence, but then they have no spiritual interest. So eating, sleeping, mating, defending, no interest in spiritual life, right? And they start thinking, oh, miseries are a way of life, and we have to just live that way. They are stuck and bound to it. Right? They're not cultivating. They're not striving for resolution of these miseries. They cheat themselves in one way. Right? They let themselves be deluded by the temptation of the world. So Naradhava means the lowest kind of mankind. It means people who have been out of touch with the concept of God or any supreme or any kind of regulation which will help them to cultivate or to even bring them to the mode of Guru. So that's the Naradham. Then comes Maya Aprita Jnana. Maya Aprita Jnana. So Maya Aprita Jnana. So Maya Jnana, the two words we know. Maya is material nature, Jnana is knowledge. Aprita. So some Aparan, right? The word, there's a Sanskrit word called Aparan, to take away. So when the knowledge has been stolen away by Maya, they have knowledge but don't understand the purpose of knowledge. That's it. So they get deluded and they also delude others. Maya Parta Jnana. This is a very interesting one. So there are some great intellects, and in the world, people are, they're born with extremely good intelligence. And then they can go deeply within various subject matters, physics, science, so forth. There's so many scientists. They can go very deep into it, right? And some people have even actually read the whole Bhagavad Gita very carefully. But after reading Bhagavad Gita, even after reading it carefully, they still don't understand that they have to surrender to Krishna. They misinterpret in many ways. And they say, oh, surrender is not required. Right? So such people are Maya Pratagyanas. Right? You might know of many scientists who they say, oh no, God does not exist. Right? So those are kind of Maya Pratagyanas. Krishna has given them intelligence, given them knowledge, right? But they don't understand the purpose of knowledge. So, and then last is Asuram Bhavam Ashrita. This word is also, right? Asuram Ashrita. Taking shelter, Ashrita, of Asura, that is demoniac, Bhava is nature. So people who are demoniac in nature. So they are actually outright against God. Right? They have Asuram Bhavam Ashrita. And then they are demoniac in nature, right? They accept activities that are completely contrary to the nature of this world, right? Contrary to their well-being, contrary, and so forth. Right? So if you notice, these four kind of people, the first three, Mudha, Naradhama, Maya, Pratyajnana, they are non-devotional. They have no concept of spiritual. The fourth one is worst. It's actually anti-devotional. He's against God. So there are so many people you can see nowadays, social media. People are so atheistic. They're just very aggressively atheistic. So many politicians and even celebrities, they just try to show off by that. So there are people who are non-devotional, no interest in spiritual life, and there's some people who are anti-devotional. They're against devotional, against God. And so that's the fourth kind of group here. Ashuram Bhavam. So Krishna is using very strong words here. He's calling them foolish, lowest among mankind. Knowledge is stolen by illusion. Partake the atheistic nature of demons. He's calling them demons. So can somebody tell me why is Krishna using such strong words? He's using Duskrita, Naradhama. Why do you think Krishna speaks so strongly here? Or one says, what lessons can we take from this as devotees? Any thoughts, anyone?
I think he uses strong words, Prabhuji. Sorry, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, to basically not convince us, but to help us understand the bad qualities and the good qualities. All the good qualities that he has versus the bad qualities that he doesn't carry, and those who carry doesn't believe in him. And what he is, and so forth.
Yeah, so he's giving us a contrast. Yeah, that's a good point. Yes. Anybody else? Why is Krishna speaking such strong words, and what is the lesson that as devotees we can take from this?
Prabhuji, so while listening to purport and the explanation, I was just kind of thinking, which kind of category of donkey I belong to. And I think until you use that word, it doesn't punch in that hard. So
Huh?
these strong terms actually really makes me realize, where do I belong, which category? So
That's a very good point. Yeah, Krishna is trying to shake us out of our complacency. We become so comfortable, and even in bhakti, we become very comfortable sometimes, right? So these words are not meant to condemn people, but he wants to reveal the seriousness of human life, right? Human life is meant for self-realization. When somebody has intelligence, he's been given the opportunity, he's been given a human body, education, capabilities, but still after that, they deliberately turn away from Krishna. And that is very, very unfortunate for that person. So that's why Krishna is using such strong words. And when as devotees, sorry, somebody was saying something? Please go ahead. No? Okay. So yes, as a devotee, obviously we should be careful that we don't fall into any of these categories. It also helps us that understand, hey, do I resist Krishna in some ways? Like, is there a way where I try to resist Krishna in my life in subtle ways? Am I using my intelligence in Krishna's service or my ego's service? Am I taking spiritual life seriously? So these questions we should ask when we read such verses. Right? So, hey, the Krishna is using such strong verses. Do I fall into there somewhere? How is my bhakti going? Right. So yeah, that's another way to look at it. And then it can also. Yes, go ahead.
oh, sorry, Prabhuji, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, I was just saying towards the end that it can also increase our compassion towards such people, right? Because if Maya can cover even intelligent people, then we should help others through humility. We can give them prasadam, kirtan, right? So many people hear kirtan, book distribution. So there are ways which we can help them. Obviously, if they are very envious of us, we should ignore them. But if they are not, then we can even help them to some extent. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Prabhu, and probably last lecture prior to that, you said you gave an example of donkeys, right? Where donkey doesn't have to work hard because the grass he will always get anyway. But even if then he works hard and then gets the same grass.
Yeah,
So that's a very strong implication to this because I mean we are working hard, right? Every day in, day out,
yeah.
which we can get anyway. But so
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, a donkey can get grass anywhere. But then he's so foolish. He thinks that, oh, my master will give me grass after I work the whole day. But the grass is freely available everywhere. But he doesn't understand it. They're just
yeah.
so animalistic propensities than human beings. Right? Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good example. Yes, Prabhupada is amazing. His analogies are just amazing.
Pretty
And there was this one sentence Prabhupada brings in. When I read this purport, I just highlighted this. It was very interesting. The lowest among human beings can be delivered by this submissive hearing process only. How powerful this hearing process is. All we need to do is just keep hearing with an open heart, without envy in it. That's all we have to do. And then, as Prabhupada is saying, oral reception of these messages. We are receiving these messages in we might not fully understand them, but all we can do is just keep our ears open and say, okay, yes, there's something of value for me. Many times we read Bhagavatam, there are many sections of Bhagavatam at least I don't understand sometimes. So I would say, okay, no problem. I'm not at that level yet. Probably, later when Krishna's mercy comes, I might be able to understand it. So that submissive hearing process is very much, and that can elevate anybody. The lowest of the human beings can be delivered by this submissive hearing process, but it should be submissive. If it is with arrogance, it won't benefit us. So I just wanted to highlight, this is a beautiful statement Prabhupada has put. Okay, so 16, the next one is about 4 people who surrender to Krishna. Chatur vidha bhajante mam jana sukriti no arjuna artho jigyasur artharthi jnani cha bhattarshabha. So the 4 kinds of people, Krishna is saying, oh, best among Bharatas, 4 kind of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desirer of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the absolute. So 4 categories of people: distressed, desirer of wealth, inquisitive, and who is searching for the knowledge of the absolute truth. So the 4 kind of people, as Krishna is saying, actually what's Krishna saying? Begin to render devotional service unto. So that's what Krishna is saying. So now, Sandeep Prabhu, just to let you know, we fit in one of these categories. We don't fit in those 4. You're not in those 4. Don't look for yourself in those 4. You are in this because we are sincerely trying to do bhakti. Yeah, we might not be perfect. We might be far from perfect. We might have a lot of anarthas in our heart. But because we are sincerely trying to connect with Krishna, we come in these 4 categories. So we are Krishna's favorites. So it's not, these people don't have the best of motives. Some of them, Krishna is saying they're distressed. Some of them want money, right? Dhruv Maharaj. And money just doesn't mean like, coins and notes. Money can be land also, right? Anything that you can acquire that can make you rich. So Dhruv Maharaj was looking for a kingdom bigger than his father, grandfather, and so forth. So he was one of these categories, right? And then the inquisitors. So Artho. So let's look at the first one. Artho is a distressed. Can anybody think of an example from Bhagavatam? Somebody who is Artho, was in a distressed state, reached out to Krishna.
Yeah, Draupadi Mataji, Prabhu. She was in distress and she called him, and he came right away to, robe her.
Yeah, that's good. Who else can we think of from Bhagavatam? Think of Bhagavatam.
Elephant, right? Gajaraj, I guess the name.
Gajendra. Yeah. Gajendra was distressed. He was distressed. He tried to free himself from the crocodile, and then he just picks out a lotus and he offers it to Krishna. So that these are distressed, and you'll be surprised to know that people in distress, all of them become God-fearing and God-loving. Can you imagine that? You all might have heard in 1970, there was this Apollo 13 mission, right? When they were coming back into the Earth's atmosphere, and it got into some complications. There were some complications, right? And then the scientists who were monitoring it, they sent out a radio signal to the whole world to pray for these people, right? There was some problem in the oxygen tank in the spacecraft. Something happened. So those scientists who were trying to present, oh, we don't believe in God, we'll go explore the whole universe, we'll go make a colony in moon and everything. When they were in trouble, they also went out and asked everybody to pray for them. There is a saying in English that there are no atheists in a foxhole. So foxhole is something that army people, they dig something in the ground so that if there are bullets coming, they can just hide underneath. But if they're stuck there, anybody who finds them there, then they're dead for sure. So they say there are no atheists in a foxhole. So when you're in a very precarious situation, a very distressed situation, everybody becomes God-loving, God-fearing. Actually, I read a survey many years ago about how nearly 1.4 million active duty members, you talk about army, military, and so forth, in the United States, only a very, very small fraction, I think just 8,000 of them out of 1.4 million, they identified themselves as atheists, right? So there's nobody when you come in distress, everybody, oh, there must be somebody whom I can pray to. So yes, so those kind of people are distressed, right? And then next one is jigyasu. Jigyasu are inquisitive. Jigyasu, the inquisitive ones. So that's another category of people, right? Like inquisitive, we see the whole Bhagavatam was spoken. If you know the story Bhagavatam, right? There is the story begins with Saunaka Rishi in Saunaka Rishi in Naimisharanya answering the questions of sages there. And Saunaka Rishi himself was present where Sukadev Goswami was speaking the Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. So Saunaka Rishi, right? So he was very yeah. So there was inquisitiveness in those sages asking Saunaka Rishi to please tell us what you had heard. Right? So that was inquisitive nature. For example, Prabhupada, whenever he used to travel in trains, somebody would come to him and ask him a question. Swamiji, I have a question for you. Prabhupada would be, like randomly people would just walk over. And once their curiosity was over, they will just go away. Their business with Krishna is over. So that's jigyasu. So that's the thought of jigyasu people. So, and then third one is artha arthi, one who desires material gain. That's what we talked about Dhruv being it, right? So Dhruv is an example. So he was so hell bent upon getting his desires fulfilled. So when Narad came, Dhruv told him that if Narad can't give him what he needs, please move out of the way. That's what Dhruv was saying. Swamiji, if you can't give me what I'm looking for, please move out of the way. Let me go to the forest. Right. So that's the that's what artha arthi is. So once Prabhupada was traveling in train, and there were two businessmen who wanted to come close to him, but Prabhupada's disciples were not letting them come. But then Prabhupada saw and said, "Oh, let them come, let them come." And what they were asking, "Oh, please bless us, Swamiji." And Prabhupada asked them, "Okay, I'll bless you. Do you want me to bless you that your material life may be over?" And they both got scared and they ran away. So they are seekers, but then they still are not fully convinced of spiritual life. People are very busy in their material life. So it's just a mindset thing. If you see that this world, has a problem, you'll try to fix it. But if the material world is the problem, you'll not try to fix it. If it has a problem, you'll try to fix it. But if the material world by itself is the problem, you just wrap up and move on. So they're seekers, right? So we all can also be inquisitive. We can all go to Krishna and ask Krishna that Krishna, please help me. This is my desire. Please help me. I want to move forward. So yeah, we're not perfect devotees. We can always go and ask Krishna. And there is a verse which says that whatever your desire may be, Tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param, that you should always go to Krishna. Whether you have desire for material wealth, whether you have desire for liberation, whether you have desire for bhakti, for everything, just go to Krishna. So yes, so that is, and then the last one is Jnani. So Jnani, as we know, is knowledge. Right? So there are people who are looking for knowledge. And Jnani, so one thing to keep in mind, there is searching for knowledge. They are not absolute. They don't have knowledge yet. He's not a possessor of knowledge. He has an understanding that there is an absolute truth and I have to develop a relationship. Right? It's more like a very existential question. Where did I come from? So others, yes, they are connecting with Krishna, but when their problem is solved, they generally their curiosity is gone. Their connection may be lost. But one who comes to Krishna searching for knowledge, that person will continue on. So these are four categories of people who connect with Krishna. So the difference between Jnani and the other three is, like, there is he's seeking for spiritual truth. Artha, arthi are simply trying for relief of material level. Jigyasu is just inquisitive, more or less at a mental level. It's not a serious search for the absolute truth. So that's where the Jnani is different. So that's how Krishna is saying, yes, Jnani. So, and then in the next verse, Krishna will tell us in the sorry, out of these, the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best. For I am very dear to him and he is dear to me. So, Tesham Jnani. So here Krishna is saying, Jnanis are best. So amongst all four, Eka Bhakti is four. So by association with devotees, all of those four can become pure. Understand? That's because they are reaching out to Krishna. If they come in association of pure devotees, they all can become pure. But then this last one is the best because he is actually ready. Right? He wants to know what the ultimate truth. The other are not yet coming with that thought process. So it's not about that impersonal Jnani we talked about earlier. It's about Bhakti. We talked about, right? Second chapter, there was this verse, right? There was Satvika Buddhi, Ekehi Kuru Nandana. So intelligent person who are focused, right? That's where Krishna is using the word Eke Bhakti. Focus only on Bhakti. So these people are, so these Jnanis are not the regular Jnanis. They are the Jnanis who are focused on Bhakti. Their purpose is not material. They are not doing occasional Bhakti. You'll see people who do occasional Bhakti. Yeah, I'm here, but when I go out, then my Bhakti is out of the window. No. I'm out. When I go out, I'll do whatever I want. But at home, yeah, I can do Bhakti. Others, in front of others, I don't do Bhakti. So they're just occasional devotees. Right? So by association with pure devotees, the inquisitive, the distressed, the seeker of material, all of them can become pure. So that's what Krishna is highlighting here. Prabhupada is saying, after supreme knowledge can all become pure devotees. By searching after knowledge, one realizes that his self is different from his material body. And when further advanced, he comes to the knowledge of the impersonal Brahman and Paramatma. When one is fully purified, he realizes that his constitutional position is to be the eternal servant of God. There is a progression Prabhupada is telling us. First, we get to know I'm not this body, I'm a soul. Then I keep further advancing. I understand that Krishna is all pervasive. There is an energy all pervasive. Then that energy is sitting in my heart. And then eventually there is Bhagavan. So that's what Prabhupada is highlighting here. Okay. Okay. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me to the highest and most perfect goal. So Krishna says that even others are good, as we just saying. Krishna using the word udhara, magnanimous. They all are magnanimous. They all are great. Krishna is very merciful. And he is looking for our love, our devotion. And he's very happy to see anyone who comes to him, even though might not be of a material desire. They might be coming out of material desire, but it's okay. Krishna says at least they're coming to. So Krishna calls them udhar, magnanimous, right? Even though their bhakti is mixed. Actually, all of us have, at least my bhakti is mixed. It's not pure bhakti. But Krishna is still happy to see us coming to him instead of going anywhere else. And when in trouble, they are reaching out to Krishna, and Krishna is happy. And Krishna says, Jnani, such Jnani are, they're Atmaiva, they're like me. Such a person situated in. So, and Prabhupada, he quotes this verse from the episode of Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni. Right? That he's always in devotee's heart. So Krishna is glorifying his relationship with devotee, giving devotees more value than himself. So four kind come to Krishna, right? So they are Jnanis, right? So we also should reach out to Krishna all the time in the way we are, not try to be pretentious, just as we have. So
Oh, wait, one question. Like,
Yes.
is it, I mean, to me, like, reaching out Krishna every time, like for material things, is it probably a better approach is like, only for things that we truly can't control, right? So, for example, if somebody, is preparing for a job, right? They really
Mhm.
try their best.
Mhm.
And if they end up to a place where, okay, I'm not getting anything, then maybe they can ask Krishna. But, just asking for upfront, hey, Krishna, help me find a job. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like, isn't a better approach is to like only ask Krishna when absolutely you find no way out, instead of like running to him for every single thing, because it's like misusing his mercy, right? For every little thing in life. I mean, shouldn't
Well,
one get,
so you
yeah?
should, the way we should try to be is, uh, how do they say it? They say, right, that, how's that? I'm just trying to remember that there was this. Well, you're right. In one sense, you're right. Right. We should do whatever is best, whatever we can do, whatever is in our hands, and then we should just leave it to Krishna. So yeah, that's the right way. However, when we are doing our best, we should depend on Krishna. There has to be dependence all the time. The dependence shouldn't shift on me. Oh, that I am doing it. Yes, I'm doing my best, but still, that also, that knowledge, that capability to do the best. Krishna said, right, that I am the ability man. That also is coming from Krishna. So we should pray as if everything depends on Krishna and work as if everything depends on you. Keep that in mind. But you always have Krishna in the back. We should never move Krishna out of the picture. So you're right. We should try our best, but not remove Krishna out of the picture. Does that make
Right.
sense, bro?
Yeah, Prabhu. Because like praying to him for every outcome, right? Isn't it's like misusing, right? Or the prayer, right? So,
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
we should not do that. But
yeah.
it's that, see, we all are at different levels, right? Some people are beginning in their path of bhakti. Some people are very advanced. Like, for example, pure devotees, they don't ask for anything to Krishna. Like the gopis, right? There's an episode where Krishna tells gopis, I cannot reciprocate. I cannot give you anything in return for your love, right? And there are devotees who don't ask anything, like Prahlad Maharaj. When Narsingh Dev comes, he says, Prahlad Maharaj, take a boon. Prahlad says, no, I don't want a boon. I'm not a varnik. I'm not a merchant. Take something in exchange. So pure devotees come to the level, but people are at different levels in bhakti. So Krishna is okay as long as they're coming to them, and these people then eventually they'll get purified and eventually come to Krishna.
Oh,
But
so you're
yeah,
not committing any offense by like,
no,
okay.
there's no
Um,
offense in that. No, no,
okay,
there's no
okay,
offense.
okay.
Actually, in this book called was it Rajavidya, in the second chapter, Prabhupada says this very clearly that you should tell Krishna everything that is happening in your life. Tell him, sit down in front of him and tell him, Krishna, I'm trying to fix this problem. It's not working out. My job, this, whatever it may be. Tell Krishna. So there's no harm in doing it. It's not an offense to tell Krishna about your
Okay,
problem.
okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay. And then so this in this verse now, Krishna is saying that they all are magnanimous, but the Jnani is the best, as we've talked about, right? That's the 18th verse. So the Jnani is the best here. He's calling him Udhar, Udhar, Udhara Sarvaivite, Jnani tu Atmaiva Mimata. And there is a verse in the Bhagavatam in the 11th canto. It says, Vishajati Hirdayam, Yasya Shakshat, Dhari Ravhasalita Vyaghoganasha, Pranaya Rasnaya Dhritangri Padma, Sa Bhavati Bhagavad Pradhanukta. So what there's this verse is talked about from by the Kardama Muni, no, not one of the Navayogendras. And what it said is that if conditioned soul just call upon Krishna once by speaking his name, okay, even unwillingly sometimes, unintentionally, that also Krishna will burn out their innumerable sinful reactions, karma, in their hearts. So Krishna is so eagerly waiting for us. And even if we say his name once, Krishna is more than happy. So yes, that's it's a beautiful relationship we have with Krishna. Okay, and now Krishna is saying, after many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes, and all that is, such a great soul is very rare. So bahunam janmanam ante jnanvan mam prapadyate. So now in we heard right earlier that Krishna is saying that all devotees are noble. But this Jnani is especially dear because he is fixed in knowledge, Eka Bhakti, in devotion to Krishna. Right? And then in this verse, Krishna is explaining how rare and elevated such Jnanis actually are. That's why the reason Krishna is bringing this thought process here. It looks like it's a sudden jump, but he's not jumping. He's just telling us that, yes, I told you Jnanis are the best, but I also want to tell you how rare it is that such a Jnani comes in. So in other words, Krishna is saying many people pursue knowledge over many lifetimes. But true knowledge, it does not culminate in impersonal realization or speculation or pride. It culminates in surrender to Krishna. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. So Krishna is not changing the topic here. He's just deepening the description of the Jnani from earlier verses. Right? So Krishna is telling that this Jnani I'm talking about, he's not merely an intellectual. He is the one who, after long spiritual evolution, has come to finally surrender to me. That is why such a soul is Mahatma. He's Sudurlabha, he's very rare. So, and one interesting thing I wanted to highlight here, I put this word here, is prapadyate. So if we go back in the verse where Krishna is telling about the 4 people who come to him, he was saying, Chaturvidha bhajante mam. So there he uses bhajante, and then he's talking about prapadyate. So these are 2 separate words. Where's that word? It's the next one. Yeah. Prapadyate. Right. Prapadyate, Prabhupada translated as surrenders. And the earlier verse, bhajate, he was translating it as render service. So prapadyate is at a higher level than bhajate. So the word bhajate, as we talked in past, it comes from the root word bhaj. To worship, to engage in service. That's bhajate. Right? At this stage, the person has turned towards Krishna, but still has other mixed motives. Right? But then the word prapadyate is full surrender. Completely takes shelter of Krishna. So Krishna is not somebody whom I approach for help when I need. He's my ultimate shelter. He's my purpose. He's everything. So the journey from bhajate to prapadyate, right? So it starts by approaching Krishna, either distressed or looking for wealth or inquisitiveness, right? And then when we associate with pure devotees, purification comes. We get purified. Our heart gets purified. We hear, we chant, we gain realization over time. And then we come to the level of prapadyate. Initially, it is Krishna, please help me. I need this, I need that. Eventually, it becomes Krishna, I am yours. Do whatever you like. Maru bhi rakho bhi jo ichha tuhar. Nitya dasa prati tuvar adhikar. There's a song by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Manasa deho gyaru. That's what a devotee comes when he's prapadyate. So 2 words, bhajate, prapadyate, and Krishna has taken us from bhajate, chaturvidha bhajate ma, all the way to prapadyate. And he has given us guidance. Prabhupada has given it in his purports, Krishna has given the verses. Okay. I'll take a pause here, see anything, because in the next verse there is a slight twist, a slight change of gear. Anything that you want to bring out, anything that was not clear, or you have a question?
I have a couple of questions. So,
Yes, go ahead.
I'm a bit confused here because I think we started with devotional service, and then Krishna is talking about 4 kinds of people, like, uh, what is it?
Yeah, 4 kinds of people who don't come to him.
Yeah, and 4 kinds of people who come to him.
Mhm.
And then he is explaining, talking about Gyanis here. So, are we talking about devotees here or Gyanis here?
Yeah, that's what I was highlighting. These Gyanis are not the ones that those impersonalists who are just so much focused on gaining knowledge. No, these Gyanis are devotees.
Devotees.
Yes. And that's why Krishna is saying it. Let's go back a verse or 2. He's saying, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanvan Mam Prapadyate. So Jnana, he's a Jnani, but Prapadyate, he's fully surrendered to Krishna. That's the Jnani that Krishna is talking about all across. Right? He says, Jnani tu atmaiva udara sarvaivite jnani tu atmaiva me matam. Jnani atmaiva means atmaiva visible. Atma eva, just like myself,
Hmm.
my matam. Asthita sahi yuktatma mam evanu tamam gatim. So he is fully focused on Krishna. So this jnani is not the regular jnani that we talked about. This is different.
Got it. And then this was my second question. Like, what does Krishna mean when he says that I consider these gyanis to be just like my own self? What does that mean?
So when he says like my own self, right? So if you see in a relationship, let's say uh, for a parent, a child is like its own self. That in the own self, in the sense that the father or mother will sacrifice anything for the child. And in this relationship, that devotee is ready to give up everything for Krishna, and Krishna is ready to give up everything for the devotee. So that's what it means. He's like me. For me, he's my own self. Like he's
Oh.
practically me, that because he's so much devoted to me that he's practically doesn't think about anything else, and he's ready to give up everything for me. So he becomes my own self. Like for example, if I give you Prabhupada, when he was in Mayapur once, he had his god brothers there. So god brothers from local Bengal, and he's from Gaudiya Math. And he was talking to them, and Malati Mataji was cooking for Prabhupada, and she bought prasadam. And those devotees were looking at her, and he was thinking, "Oh, you're a sannyasi." He didn't say it, but that's what they were hinting at. "Oh, you're a sannyasi. How is the lady serving you?" And Prabhupada said to them that, I know what you're saying because Indian customs are that way, but she can kill anybody for me, and I can kill anybody for her.
Hmm.
So that means she's my own self. So Prabhupada took all his disciples as his daughters and sons. So he was so much, he used to love them as his children, and they in turn used to love so much that they were ready to do anything for him, and he was ready to do anything. So they become his own self. That's the way to understand it in a more philosophical sense.
I see. So it's like you can say like mere apne hai, like my own.
Yes, you can say mere apne hai, but it still might be a bit diluted, right? Because in mere apne maybe then you don't know, right? Who are your own? They might not stand up when they need you. You need them. Not all your apne are like that.
Hmm.
But so this is like a pure hardcore love. I don't know, like sometimes kids they get attracted to somebody like an elder sister or a brother or mother, and they just say, "Oh, these he or she is my whole life and soul." So is that kind of intense relationship? But yes, you can say it mere apne hai in that sense also, but more intense than that.
Prabhu, could it also mean that, in terms of like quality, like, so Krishna is very merciful, right? So the
Hmm.
devotee also becomes very merciful. He is very, so those kind of
Yeah, yeah, you can
qualities
say
as
that
well.
also. Yes, yes.
Because
And
a true devotee has to have godly qualities, right? It's not like a regular person. Like a
yeah, for sure. Yes, yeah, he'll have godly qualities. 16th chapter, Krishna says that divine people qualities. Abhayam Sattva Sham Shuddhir Gyan Viva starts with that. So yes, and because uh, if you love somebody so much that you're ready to do anything for that person, so obviously what Krishna is telling us to be, that person will fully live to that word, what Krishna wants us to be. If he does not live toward Krishna, then he is duplicitous. He's just pretending to love Krishna. Right? So being in pure love with Krishna is that whatever you want me to do, Krishna, I'll do it. Like Arjun, right? Krishna, you want me to fight? I'll go fight. I'll kill anybody you want me to kill. So yes, he'll have those qualities, godly qualities also. Deepti, were those questions answered for you?
Yes, it was. I have
Okay,
one more question if
sure.
we can
Tell.
discuss. So we have been talking about like a devotee can also like talk to Krishna and ask about whatever they need, be it be material and of
Mhm.
course spiritual. So when then a needy person who comes to Krishna, who's not a devotee, but just he's in distress or whatever reason, he comes and asks, and a devotee also asks, like, how do you place them separate, like the intentions of a devotee, and how is that beneficial towards reaching Krishna?
So as Krishna as was explaining, there are people who are distressed, there are people who need wealth, and there are people who are inquisitive. These kind of people also approach Krishna. And then you said devotee also asked Krishna. There's a chance that these three people, the desirer of wealth, distressed, or inquisitive, once their curiosity is satisfied, they might just go away. They might not do bhakti. I know I have seen many such devotees who come when they are having some problem in their lives, Bhagwan Krishna solves it, then they never come back to the temple.
Hmm.
But at least they're coming to Krishna, who is Bhagavan. They're not going to some demigod. So that is why Krishna likes them. Not because that, oh, now they are my devotees and they'll stick with me forever. Whereas on the other hand, a devotee, yes, a devotee also asks for some material things, can ask. But then whether it's approved or not approved, whether he or she gets it or not gets it, he does not leave Krishna. That's the difference between both of them.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that was what you were asking.
Yeah, I was asking in this line only.
Okay. Yeah, so for a devotee never leaves. That's the quality. So then that devotee becomes a jnani who's being talked about here. Not that he's perfect, but now because he surrendered to Krishna, eventually by association of devotees, chanting, hearing, he will come to the purified level. Right now he is not. So the jnani being talked about here, he's not perfect yet.
Okay.
But by the association he can become perfect. So that's why Krishna is saying those people are favorite who come to me and they just stick around despite whatever happens. But people who leave, who come to me and leave, they're also okay. At least they're better than those people who don't come to me at all.
Hmm.
That's what Krishna means here.
Okay, so these are like, even if you're asking something, you are like taking steps towards
Towards Krishna.
purification,
Yes.
towards Krishna. Okay, got it.
I'll give you another example. When a lot of people who come asking for something material benefits to Krishna, they come and they also associate with devotees. So there is a good chance that they might stick around after their problem is solved. Right?
Hmm.
So those people are good. They start probably from the category of desirer of wealth or distressed, but then they migrate to the category of jnanis who are actually want to do service if they stick around. If they don't stick around, then they are still in those first three categories.
Oh,
And
isn't like most devotees in ISKCON are like what you're just describing? They just come for something and then they end up like, long term.
Yes, there are, but Prabhu, you will also see devotees who leave. I've seen a lot of myself who come and something happened. Either they're whatever
I mean,
they're
like,
desiring for got solved, and they just leave them.
I mean, like whoever is staying, right? At least those, right? I mean, they are like people who just ended up accidentally, with something, I don't know, food or
Yes,
kirtan, right?
there are such
Yeah.
devotees. There are stories. There was once Prabhupada disciple who saw a picture of Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was wearing a Rolex watch. So Rolex watch is very costly. So that he was a thief actually, and he wanted to steal Prabhupada's Rolex watch. And he came and started living in the temple. That he said, oh, whenever I get a chance, I'll steal Prabhupada's Rolex watch and leave. And you'll not believe it. Just in association of devotees hearing chanting, he became a devotee. Forget about the watch. He forgot about the watch. So yeah, people come for many reasons and they stick around and they become pure devotees and they go back home, back to Godhead.
okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Oh, okay. Anybody else? Anything? Anyone's mind? Jump into the next section.
There is a hand raised.
There is a hand raised. Whose hand is raised? I don't know. Let me see. Oh, not gone there. Okay, so the next section, let's see, it's about demigods. So Krishna now having told us, okay, you come to me, and then he's going to talk about people whose surrender is going to get misplaced. He's going to talk about that. Those are the people who approach demigods. I'm just seeing how many. Let's do a couple of more, at least two. Okay. Let's do two, where Krishna is talking about people who are demigod worshippers. So keep in mind, this section, 7th chapter, verse number 20 to 23, I think is there. It's about demigods. Similarly, there are 9 chapter also towards this same time, 920, 925, somewhere on that. Krishna is talking about demigods. So if anybody questions you, where does Krishna talk about demigod worship and so forth, you can tell them. 7th chapter towards the 20th verse, 9th chapter. There are two places where Krishna will talk very clearly about demigods. Okay, so let's see. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. So one who has desire to enjoy and who knows that these desires are such that Krishna will not approve them. So, for example, if there is a child whose teeth are all infested with uh, they've just gone bad because of eating too much chocolate or whatever, they're just rotten. And if he goes to his father asking for more chocolate, the father is never going to buy him chocolate. He's going to tell him, get out of here. I'm not going to buy any chocolate. Your teeth are going bad. I don't want you to lose your teeth. But if that same child goes to an uncle, let's say, that uncle out of love will buy him chocolates. Or even if he goes to a shopkeeper, the shopkeeper, even though the shopkeeper or the uncle, they will see that the child's teeth are rotten, they'll still give him a chocolate because they don't love him to that extent. So, but when we go to Krishna, he may slap us and he may send us away. So those are the people who are so intent on getting their desires fulfilled, and they know that if I go to Krishna, who's Bhagavan, he's not going to give it to me. So I should go to the demigods. Good spouse, good education, whatever it may be, you can go to different demigods. And then they follow those particular rules and regulations. And actually, there is a very interesting section in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Let me show you where Krishna, where the thought process is shown of how Krishna is thinking about it. These are very sweet verses. Let me see if I can find it quickly. It comes in the Madhya Lila. The Madhya Lila is a very powerful section of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Oh yeah, the chapter actually is called Process of Devotional Service. It's chapter 22, right? And he's talking to, I think, Rupa Goswami. But yeah, let me pull out. I'll show you this. I'll show you this. Yes. So this is Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 22. I just want to read from this verse, 36. This is the verse I was talking. This is coming from Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto. Akama sarva kamava moksha kama udharadi tivrena bhakti yogina yajita purusham param. Whether one desires everything or nothing, or whether he desires to merge into the existence of the Lord, he is intelligent only if he worships Lord Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, by rendering transcendental loving service. Okay, this is 2:3:10. And then in the next verse, if those who desire material enjoyment or merging into the existence of the absolute truth engage into the Lord's transcendental loving service, they will immediately attain shelter at Krishna's lotus feet, although they did not ask for it. Krishna is therefore very merciful. So Krishna kahe, ama bhaje mage vishay sukha, amrita chhadi vishay mage e bada murkha. So how Krishna thinks when we go with material desires? Krishna says, if one engages in my transcendental loving service, but at the same time wants the opulence of material enjoyment, he is very, very foolish. Indeed, he is just like a person who gives up ambrosia to drink poison. Then next verse, Krishna says, Ami vigya e murkha vishaya kena diva, swa charanamrita diya vishaya bhulaiba. Since I am very intelligent, why should I give this fool material prosperity? Instead, I shall induce him to take the nectar of the shelter of my lotus feet and make him forget illusory material enjoyment. And let's see, there's another verse after that. No. So yeah, so this is what Krishna thinks when somebody goes for material desires to him. And people know this, that if I go, Krishna will not fulfill my material desires. So if they are so intent upon material desires, they will not go to Krishna. They'll say, anyway, I won't go to Krishna. Krishna does not fulfill desires. He will just, mess up everything. I don't want to go to Krishna. So those people go to demigods. They do demigod worship. Okay. So yeah, and they follow those rules and regulations. Okay, and so the next verse is also about demigods. Oh no, did I go? Not today. Okay. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta shraddha architum vichyati tasya tasya chalam shraddham tam eva vidadhamyaham. I'm in everyone's heart as super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. Now this is interesting, right? So now Krishna refers to he's saying, what's saying? Yo yo yamnam tanu bhakta shraddha architum vichyati. Shraddha is faith, right? So tasya tasya shraddha. So what you should look at it from is that Krishna is the one who is giving faith. Right? He's saying, I make his faith steady. So Krishna refers to faith as a matter of divine grace coming from Krishna, that he bestows faith according to our desires. Right? So you can look at it like a medicine, that how we become healthy when we take medicines. Right? So when we all are souls, we have original eternal relationship with Krishna. So having complete faith in him, will become naturally healthy in a state. So then somebody can ask this question: why did Krishna create demigod worship? Right? He's himself saying, okay, you want to worship a demigod? I'll make your faith steady in that demigod worship, in that particular deity. Right? So the reason is that some children of Krishna, they don't want anything with Krishna. They only want material pursuits. They only want material enjoyment. So Krishna has many children. Every living entity is Krishna's child. But some of those children, they only want material enjoyment. Right? So Krishna also loves them. Right? So he's maintaining them. Right? So he's saying, Krishna, okay, you want material pursuits, I'll make a way for you to enjoy material pursuits. And Krishna is also not envious that, oh, why are you worshipping them and not me? So at the end of the day, it all boils down to that living entity's intention. So also you have to understand, sometimes Krishna also created demigod worship because demigod worship is more like a gradual advancement of people towards bhakti. It is a detour, but if somebody continues to do demigod worship also with a very sincere heart, they will also be taken to Krishna. There are so many devotees who are Lord Shiva's devotees who come to ISKCON and they become Krishna's bhaktas. So Lord Shiva, if he sees sincerity in the soul, he takes them to Krishna. So it's a detour. So it's a gradual advancement of pathway towards bhakti. That is why Krishna has created demigod worship. So Krishna gives the conviction to be faithful to that particular deity. And as I said, why does Krishna do that? Because Krishna does not interfere with anyone's free will. He gives them facility to fulfill their desires. So that's the reason Krishna is creating demigod worship. Right. However, in the next verse, Krishna clearly tells, and I'll wrap up after this 22. We can go to the next section later. Sataya Shraddhaya Yuktas Tasya Radhana Ihate Labhati Cha Tatha Kaman Mai Eva Vihitan Hitam. Endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. Right? So there is faith being built, right? Supply is being provided by demigod side, but actuality benefits are coming from Krishna. Demigod worship is called puja. It's not called bhakti. We should never use the term bhakti with demigod worship. So this shows us the relationship between demigods and Krishna. It might seem as if demigods are giving the boon, but no, it's actually coming from Krishna. It's like a government. There is a prime minister. There might be other ministers, home minister, defense minister, finance minister. And people who look at them, they might think, oh, see, the finance minister is so strong. He can take all the decisions. But no, he has to get that power from the prime minister. So Krishna is the prime minister, and he has all these demigods who are serving as other ministers in his cabinet. So Krishna is giving the relationship, right? He's explaining the relationship of his with the with the demigods. So when we go to Krishna with a desire, as we've been talking that we can go with Krishna with material desires, what is going to happen? Either it will not be sanctioned, it can be sanctioned, or at most, Krishna can ask us to wait. You're not ready right now. Wait for it. Right? But as long as we keep going to Krishna, then we will be perfect. We'll soon come to perfection. So next time we all have a material desire, you go to Krishna, and the way you tell him, Krishna, if you may so desire, please take care of this material desire of mine. I'm not able to overcome it right now. Always add the phrase in the beginning, if you may so desire. Give Krishna the freedom to act in your favor, for your welfare, even though you might not understand it's your welfare. But when you say that, Krishna, if you may so desire, I have this material desire in my heart and I'm not able to overcome it. So you just go and say that. Right? So that's the way to approach Krishna with your material desires. Okay. Well, let's see. How many more verses are there? What verses? 23. There are 7 more verses. Okay, I'll take a pause here. So anybody has any thoughts or comments?
I
Those
have
you
one
can.
question.
Yes, please.
I have a question and I also have a comment. I'll go with the question first. So we are like looking at verse 17 and also this demigod section, right? And yesterday, actually, His Holiness Indradyumna Swami is in New York. So yesterday we had like a Sangha and Radhika Das, he was the one who was conducting the kirtan. And he was saying that in Ramayana, when Jatayu, when he is like, when he falls down, Krishna, I mean, Bhagwan Ram, he comes and he's like chastising Jatayu that why did you do this? You're so old now. You should have just called me. Why did you like put yourself in this position? So he was saying, Jatayu says that, my lord, I wanted to set an example that instead of looking for God, you should serve God. So I was just thinking that, here we are talking about Krishna making arrangement for demigods, and we are talking about how people come to, in the 16th verse, 4 kind of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me. So I'm just trying to understand, is there like a superiority between asking for Krishna or like, directly, like even Rukmini Devi, she in her distress, she's just asking Krishna to come and rescue her. So is there like a superiority between just asking Krishna to desiring to see him versus like just rendering service irrespective of just like Jatayu just render service irrespectively? Is there like a superiority between these two?
Well, so we know that devotees are characterized in 3 levels, right? There's Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam Adhikari.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is somebody who still has material desires and he's going to Krishna with material desires, he cannot be Uttam Adhikari because Uttam Adhikari has no material desires. He has all desires are spiritual in nature. So yes, in that sense, you can say that there is a hierarchy. So a devotee who just wants to serve Krishna without any ulterior motive, without anything asking in return, he has to be the Uttam Adhikari. So he is the topmost devotee. Like gopis, they are the topmost devotees because they didn't want anything in return. So if I don't know if you've already, the Bhagavatamrita, there is a journey that the devotee, the Narad Muni takes, going to all the devotees. He's looking for the search for the best devotee. And he starts from from this material world. He finds a king, and then he goes to Indra, and then Brahma, and then Shiva, Hanuman. And then we see that they all tell their faults. This is what I did wrong. Brahma says, oh, you think I'm perfect? I made a fool of myself. I took away his cows and his friends. So all of them, they had something to say about themselves. And then eventually he reaches gopis, right? So that gradation of those devotees, of those pure devotee that he was looking for. So that Brad Bhagavatamrita gives us that gradation. Obviously, we being at the lowest rung of the ladder, we should not look at them in a discriminatory way. For us, they all are superior, they all are amazing.
Yeah.
But yes, in a literal sense, there is a gradation. Yes. So,
Okay.
like we have Prabhupada, right? So between Prabhupada and then his disciples, who when they started, they were all enthusiastic. They wanted to serve Prabhupada. In one sense, they were ready. They were there, but still, they all had some desires in their heart, so they were not pure. But over time, now you see you're talking about Indradyumna Maharaj, pure devotees. They are not pure devotees. So they have come to that level of perfection through their endeavor of those last 40, 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is a gradation. And Brad Bhagavatam is a very good book to read if you want to understand that. It's a beautiful book.
Yeah,
So
I have that. I'm actually right now finishing up with Prabhupada Lilamrita. So after
okay.
that, I'm planning to start that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's a beautiful book. Gopi Pranadhan Prabhu, he did an amazing job. He was Prabhupada's Sanskrit editor.
yeah. Yeah.
What book we are talking about, Prabhuji?
It's
Brihad
called Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So what happens is, see, when Parikshit Maharaj, he hears the whole Bhagavatam from Sukadev Goswami, he comes out and he's about to leave his body. Okay, 7 days over that the flying snake was about to come and all that. His mother, Uttara, asks him, because his mother could not be very close to Sukadev Goswami, so she asks him, son, can you tell me what you heard there? And because she was his mother, even though he was just about to leave his body, so he was not interested in anything, but she was his mother, so he thought, okay, I should tell her. So then he recites the whole thing again, obviously not exactly as Sukadev Goswami told him, but in a more of an essence form, and that's called Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So the Bhagavatam recited again by Parikshit Maharaj to Uttara, Mother Uttara, is Brihad Bhagavatamrita.
Okay.
So, yes.
Just to come back to the question that I was asking. So if someone wants to like see God for some material desire, that is basically lower class compared to someone trying to just see Krishna so they can serve him.
Yes, there is a gradation, yes.
I see. Okay.
Because it's at the end of the day, it's our intention, even though my intention might not be, but my senses are not under my control.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that material desire, but my senses are very strong. I'm working on them. I'm sincere.
Yeah.
I'm doing my chanting, reading, following my guru's orders, but still my senses are not under my control. And Krishna is okay with that. He doesn't reject us or just leaves us. But yes, we are not that level of the pure Uttama Bhakta who has no other desire. We're not that level yet.
Yeah. On that note, I wanted to make the comment on about how you were saying that Krishna is not really envious. And I was listening to this Kaliya Mardan Katha, and in the end, when like Kaliya, when like the whole Leela is finished, the Nagapatnis, I mean, Krishna asks Kaliya to leave Braj, and the Nagapatnis are asking Krishna to give them permission to go with their husband. And over there, the speaker was mentioning that like Krishna is not envious, like he could have said that, I'm God, like why do you want your husband now? I'm right here. So, but he was like, yeah, sure, you can. He blesses them to go with them, and he just asks them all to leave Braj because Braj is just for Krishna's devotees. And
Krishna is very.
and one more point I wanted to mention was about this. I actually heard from the ISKCON Bangalore, so I'm not really sure. But it was mentioned that even Shabri, when she sees Bhagwan Ram, in the end he says like, "Tell me if you have like any desire." And she says that all I want is to go to that planet where my Guru Maharaj is, and I just want to serve him. And even there, like same thing that he could have said that, I'm God, come on now. Why you want to go there? but he just allows. He doesn't like stop or anything. He's not envious.
Yes, yeah, and Krishna actually appreciates that. When we say we want to serve our Guru, actually the same thing happens with Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj says that Narad Muni showed me the path. How can I give up service to him? I'll not give up my service to him. He says that in the prayers in the 9th canto, 7th chapter. There are prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. He says that I cannot give up my service to Narad Muni. So he's making prayers to Bhagavan, Narsimha. So yes, and God appreciates that oh, you're trying to serve my pure devotee. That's perfect. Just keep doing that. Yeah, that's a very good examples there. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to wrap up. I don't know if all of you, I told you last week, this week I'll give you the exam. I'm just giving you some time for all of you to go through the question bank so that you can be prepared. I'll just send out the exam this week. The closed book exam. Sorry, open. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.